What does it take to shatter a glass ceiling that's been reinforced for decades? In 2020, as America faced a pandemic and a racial reckoning, one woman made history by taking a seat that had never before been occupied by someone who looked like her. But her journey to that moment began long before the cameras started rolling. Imagine being told that your voice doesn't belong in prime time, that your perspective is too polarizing for mainstream America. Now imagine defying those expectations, building a multi-million-dollar media empire, and becoming the first Black woman to host a primetime cable news show in American history. This isn't just a success story, it's a revolution in slow motion. And today, we're taking you behind the scenes of Joy Reid's remarkable rise to the top of political journalism. In a media landscape dominated by familiar faces and predictable perspectives, Joy Reid stands as a powerful exception. Born on December 8, 1968 in Brooklyn, New York City, Reid's story begins at the intersection of cultures and continents. Her mother, a West Indian nutritionist, and her father, an engineer from the Democratic Republic of Congo, created a home rich with diversity and dynamic perspectives. This multicultural foundation would later inform Reid's nuanced approach to complex issues of race, politics, and identity in America. Reid's childhood was shaped by both opportunity and challenge. Raised in a Methodist household alongside two siblings, she experienced the profound impact of her parents' divorce when her father returned to Congo. Her mother took on the responsibility of raising the children alone, instilling in them the values of perseverance, education, and ambition that would later become hallmarks of Reid's professional life. These early lessons in resilience would prove invaluable as she navigated the competitive and often unwelcoming world of television journalism. Education provided Reid with both direction and opportunity. Her academic journey led her to Harvard University, where she graduated in 1991 with a concentration in film. Though she didn't initially pursue journalism, her time at Harvard honed her storytelling abilities and analytical skills, tools that would later distinguish her coverage of American politics. It was here, among some of the nation's brightest minds, that Reid began to understand the profound impact media narratives could have on shaping public perception, especially around issues of race and power. Reid's entry into the media world was humble and uncertain. In 1988, she began working at a small radio station for just $350 a month. Barely enough to survive on, let alone suggest the financial success she would later achieve. By 1997, she had transitioned to television, joining WSVN's morning show in South Florida. This conventional media path took an unexpected turn in 2003 when Reid made a pivotal decision. She stepped away from traditional journalism, driven by her strong opposition to the Iraq War. This moment marked not just a career shift but a philosophical one, as Reid began to embrace a more politically engaged form of media work. The mid-2000s saw Reid expanding her political voice. She worked with the progressive political action group America Coming Together, co-hosted Wake Up South Florida with James T. Thomas, and launched The Reid Report, a blog where she offered incisive commentary on politics, race, and media. Her writing caught the attention of major outlets, leading to her appointment as managing editor of The Griot in 2011, a digital platform created for African American audiences. Here, Reid helped shape narratives around race and politics during the Obama era, establishing herself as a distinctive voice in political analysis. 2014 brought Reid's first major breakthrough at MSNBC when she began hosting The Reid Report. Though the show was canceled in 2015, Reid persevered, becoming a national correspondent for the network and eventually launching AM Joy in 2016. This weekend morning show became a ratings success, drawing more viewers than CNN in its time slot and providing Reid with a platform to discuss issues often overlooked in mainstream political coverage. The true milestone in Reid's career came in July 2020 when she made history as the host of The Reid Out, becoming the first Black woman to anchor a primetime news show on a major cable network. This achievement didn't just represent personal success, it marked a significant shift in who gets to shape the national conversation during the most watched hours of cable news. In an industry where Black women had been systematically excluded from primetime hosting roles, Reid's appointment represented both progress and potential. Beyond television, Reid has expanded her influence through podcasting, publishing, and teaching. Her podcast Read This, Read That, and What to Read showcases her literary interests and commitment to amplifying overlooked voices and perspectives. As a professor at Syracuse University, she teaches students to critically analyze the intersections of race, gender, and media, helping to shape the next generation of journalists and media critics. Reid's financial success mirrors her professional achievements. With a net worth estimated at $6 million and annual earnings approaching $2 million, she has built substantial wealth in an industry where such success remains rare for Black women. Her real estate portfolio reflects this prosperity, including a luxurious home in Pembroke Pines, Florida, a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom property spanning over 2,500 square feet, valued at nearly $1 million. The home features a large backyard with a swimming pool, and the development includes access to a renovated clubhouse, pool area, and a full-service restaurant. Reid's property investments extend beyond Florida to the heart of Manhattan, where she owns a 28th-floor duplex penthouse in Gramercy Park. Purchased for $3 million, this upscale apartment features spacious living areas, including a great room, 2 balconies, 3 bedrooms, and multiple bathrooms. The luxury building offers amenities like 24-hour concierge service, a rooftop terrace, a gym, garage access, and on-site management. With entrepreneurial savvy, Reid has also invested in 2 Airbnb properties, generating over $250,000 annually in passive income, a testament to her business acumen beyond journalism. What makes Reid's story particularly compelling is how she's used her platform and resources to support causes close to her heart. Through the Bruce and Joy Reid Trust, she supports individuals in Australia facing financial hardship, disability, or homelessness. She also backs A Mother to Another, an initiative providing care packages to parents and caregivers at children's hospitals in Christchurch, New Zealand. These philanthropic efforts reveal Reid's commitment to addressing vulnerability and hardship, even as she achieves personal success. Reid's journey hasn't been without controversy. In 2018, homophobic blog posts from the early 2000s resurfaced, creating a significant scandal. Reid initially claimed her blog had been hacked before eventually acknowledging the posts and apologizing, admitting that her views had evolved over time. This episode tested Reid's credibility, but also demonstrated her willingness to confront past mistakes, a quality that has helped her maintain audience trust in an era of heightened accountability. The thing about being first is that you're never just representing yourself, Reid says, looking directly into the camera. You're carrying the weight of everyone who looks like you, who has been told no, who has been kept out of rooms where decisions are made. That responsibility is enormous, but it's also what drives me every single day. Her colleague Rachel Maddow describes Reid as relentlessly prepared and someone who refuses to simplify complex issues just because it would make for easier television. This commitment to intellectual rigor has become Reid's trademark, setting her apart in an industry often criticized for reducing nuanced topics to simplified talking points or partisan shouting matches. What makes Reid particularly effective as a journalist is her ability to connect abstract political concepts to lived experiences. When discussing healthcare policy, she doesn't just cite statistics, she relates them to real people's struggles to afford medication. When covering voting rights, she contextualizes current restrictions within America's long history of disenfranchising minority voters. This approach makes complex political issues accessible without diminishing their importance or complexity. Reid's rise hasn't occurred in isolation but against the backdrop of significant changes in American politics and media. The election of Barack Obama, the rise of Donald Trump, the emergence of the Black Lives Matter movement, and the growing polarization of American political discourse have all shaped the context in which Reid operates. Her willingness to directly address racial dynamics in politics has made her both influential and controversial, depending on one's political perspective. The preparation that goes into the readout reveals the seriousness with which Reid approaches her role. Hours before going on air, she can be found reviewing research materials, consulting with producers, and fine-tuning the language she'll use to frame the evening's stories. People think this is just talking on TV, a producer comments, but what they don't see is the intense research, the debate over every word choice, the commitment to getting it right. Reid's impact extends beyond her own show. Her success has helped pave the way for other journalists of color in cable news, creating what some industry insiders call the Reid effect, a growing recognition that diverse perspectives can drive both ratings and relevance. Former MSNBC President Phil Griffin acknowledged this shift. Joy proved what many of us already knew, that representation matters not just because it's the right thing to do, but because it brings viewers perspectives they weren't getting anywhere else. For many viewers, particularly women of color, Reid represents more than just a news source. She's a validation that their perspectives belong in the national conversation. Seeing Joy in that chair every night tells my daughters something I couldn't tell them with just words, explains viewer Tamika Johnson. It shows them that their voice, their perspective matters in America. That's powerful beyond measure. Despite her success, Reid remains conscious of the precarious nature of her position. This industry changes quickly, she notes. Today's breakthrough can become tomorrow's cautionary tale. That's why I approach every show as if it could be my last, because historically, people who look like me haven't gotten second and third chances in this business. This awareness fuels Reid's determination to use her platform deliberately and impactfully. Whether discussing voter suppression, police reform, or economic inequality, she approaches each topic with a sense of urgency and purpose. The privilege of having this platform comes with enormous responsibility, Reid explains. If I'm not using it to shine light on issues that matter, then what's the point? Reid's influence is particularly evident in her approach to covering stories about race in America. While many journalists shy away from directly addressing racial dynamics, Reid tackles them head-on, providing historical context and challenging viewers to confront uncomfortable truths about American society. This willingness to address what others avoid has made the readout essential viewing for those seeking to understand the complex racial dynamics shaping American politics. What makes Reid's approach distinctive is her refusal to present both sides of issues where she believes fundamental rights are at stake. There aren't two equally valid sides to whether people deserve to vote, or whether Black lives matter, she states firmly. Some issues aren't about partisan disagreement, but about basic human dignity. This clarity has earned her critics who accuse her of bias, but also devoted viewers who appreciate her moral clarity on issues they consider non-negotiable. The future of media remains uncertain, with traditional cable news facing challenges from streaming platforms, social media, and changing viewer habits. In this shifting landscape, Reid continues to adapt and evolve. She has expanded her digital presence, engaged with younger audiences through social media, and demonstrated a willingness to experiment with new formats and approaches. The platform may change, she observes, but the need for informed, passionate journalism never will. As a black woman in a field historically dominated by white men, Reid has faced unique challenges. She's endured racist and sexist attacks online, been subjected to heightened scrutiny of her appearance and delivery, and navigated industry expectations often shaped by implicit bias. Yet she's persevered, turning obstacles into opportunities and creating a blueprint for success that others can follow. The barriers I've faced weren't put there by accident, Reid reflects. They were put there by design. Breaking through them isn't just about personal achievement, it's about changing the design itself. Looking to the future, Reid remains focused on expanding representation both in front of and behind the camera. She mentors young journalists, champions diverse hiring practices, and uses her influence to create opportunities for others. Success means nothing if you're the only one who achieves it, she insists. Real progress is about creating pathways for others to follow, making sure you're not the last to break through a particular barrier. Reid's journey from a small radio station to prime-time cable news embodies both personal triumph and cultural progress. In an industry still grappling with issues of diversity and inclusion, her success represents both how far we've come and how far we still have to go. As media continues to evolve, Reid's voice remains essential, challenging, informing, and inspiring audiences across America. In a world where voices like hers were once systematically excluded from the conversation, Joy Reid didn't just find a seat at the table. She built her own table and invited others to join her. Her story reminds us that representation isn't just about who we see on our screens, but about whose perspectives shape our understanding of the world. As we navigate an increasingly complex media landscape, Reid's journey offers a powerful lesson. Sometimes the most revolutionary act is simply refusing to be silent when history has expected you to be. The question isn't